Okay, hi everyone. Thank you very much. What a wonderful scenery. I have about 8 minutes to try to tease you with the idea that the world is about changing in an extent that we have never seen before. So I'll do my best. So with a suggestion, let's try to think quantum. Okay. So let's really try to imagine a totally new kind of internet. So in this new internet, you can send money with a few clicks of a button, just as you send email today. And I don't mean by that using PayPal or banks. I'm literally meaning sending money within the internet, built in within the internet. Okay. So just as you send today email is a totally open and decentralized and public protocol that anyone can use freely. So Gmail is the nice client interface for the email, but the power of an open protocol is in the fact that any different client interface for the email protocol will be able to communicate with each other because they are all working in an open garden. So in the same way, Bitcoin is an open, decentralized protocol for transferring money on the internet. And Coinbase, for example, is a nice user interface for that protocol, but it will be interoperable with any other client interface that will be out there. And you would be able to send not just money. Basically, you'll be able to send any sort of value. So you can send, for example, the tickets to the cinema that you've just purchased yesterday, if you just happened not to be able to go to the movie. But even further, you'll be able to send the ownership of your car with a click of a button, and perhaps also the digital key to operate that car. So Bitcoin was the first generation of blockchain. It's an open protocol and a platform for the management of ownership records. So what is an ownership? So if I own that, it means that we all agree, it's a social agreement, we all agree that I own that. Which means when I send a Bitcoin to my friend, all of the computers in the network, like a gigantic swarm, need to re-update the balances of me and my friend, all at the same time, all at the same order of events. This is quite magical. Actually, it was an open problem in computer science for 40 years. But it gets much more exciting than that. So the second generation of blockchain, or the second generation of this new internet, includes something, a new creature. It includes decentralized application. So what I mean by decentralized applications? So let's start with a centralized one. So let's consider, for example, Facebook. It's a centralized company, which means that it controls all of the data of its users, right? It controls all of the communication channels, as well all of the value that is created there. But more so, it controls the rules, the governance. It can censor people, and eventually it controls all of the revenues that is created. So daily, every day, billion users are creating value, but all of this value is locked in the hands of few. Well, how would it look like the decentralized version of Facebook? So imagine an application, a platform like Facebook, which is an open protocol just like email. It's a protocol that lives in the public domain on the blockchain, controlled by no one. Users and developers are being rewarded for creating value in that application, and thus they are also stakeholders of that platform. There is a much more alignment between different sectors. Users are also stakeholders. There is less friction in the system, much more transparency, and eventually much wider distribution of power. And finally, if we have billion stakeholders, who needs marketing, right? So this technology is already out there. It's called Ethereum. It's the second generation of the blockchain. It was launched in 2014 in a crowd sale of its token, the Ether. The Ether is kind of the gas that you're paying to operate the network. It was market capped back then $18 million. And 3 years after, exactly 3 years after, as we speak, the market cap of this economy is $35 billion. Okay? So unprecedented growth. And the crazy thing about it is no one controls it. There is no company behind it. just an open source community of developers and this gigantic swarm of computers that operate the system. Anyone can run software on that network. So instead of just holding public records, it's actually a decentralized open computer. It's really a walled computer. Anyone can run software on that computer. We call those programs, we call them smart contracts. And these smart contracts, these programs, the unique thing about them is that they are unstoppable. They're uncontrollable, not even by the creator of that program itself. There is no server that this program runs on. Rather, the gigantic swarm of computers is running all together the same code, step by step, with the same data at the same time. Unstoppable, resilient, completely proof of censorship or malfunctionality. This technology is already ready and working very nicely, albeit in a small scale, and we expect the first decentralized application to be out there on the market next year. The most exciting chapter of this future is the third one, which is about smart organizations. So imagine in this new internet, anyone can open an organization, a business, a company, a smart company, albeit that smart company run by code that nobody controls, code on the blockchain. Just like opening a Facebook group, but a company. Each company will have its own governance system inherently, which will be fed by the information from the collective intelligence. Altogether, they form a new kind of business internet on which you can serve between companies and projects, just as you serve today in websites and pages. You can work in these companies, do business, offer services, and get paid in cash or equity according to the governance system of those companies. And finally, the mesh network of all of those smart companies form what we call decentralized autonomous organizations, or DAOs, DAOs, which are living organisms, really. They are breathing energy in and out in form of currencies. We are the cells of that organism, and they have no central management or central control. So imagine thousands of open source developers working together to produce complex code, or thousands of innovators working on the most wicked problem of our time, or millions of writers and producers forming a new kind of open media, or thousands of taxi drivers that all together work out a taxi cooperative which is run by itself. There is no single manager. It looks a lot more like a colony of ants or cells in our body. So DAOs will replace the roles of corporations, just as the internet has replaced the roles of the legacy media organizations. DAOs is the future of association, the future of governance, and in fact the future economy, which is also marking the beginning of the end of state as we know it. So I actually believe that most people in this conference will live to see the end of state as we know it. So with that, let me just end that the blockchain is really the second internet revolution, and you should be prepared because it'll probably be much bigger than the first. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.